Sitting in Bullhead City on the third day of September, October, it's hard to believe, October the 4th, 2008. This is Denise, the daughter of Jack Dodd. Her mother, Lois, was a student of mine before we got recalled by the 325th. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and your mother and your husband arranging this reunion when I thought maybe we might be on our last reunion the last time.
It's our pleasure.
And to do it to honor your dad, that's special. You know, I never knew your dad. If he was in the reserve unit, I was unaware of it. I suspicion he was one of the Enid boys that signed up as the 325th was sent off to war.
Yes, he was.
And he actually grew up in which community?
Enid.
In Enid. Did he go to Enid High then?
Yes, he did.
Ah. Which one of those junior highs did he go to?
You know, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't even know if there was more than one.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember mainly high school. And after high school, him and Kurt.
You know, not knowing them at all, and then knowing the guys that were new to us, he always struck me as a rural fellow like me, a boy from the farm. Was his background the country, or was he a city boy?
He grew up in a town called McWillie. That's where he was originally from, and I think it turned to Cleo Springs, I think, and that's where he grew up when he was little. And then he lived on Broadway in a house they called the Barn, and when I was little, I lived in that house. And his mother had gotten remarried, and so Mom and Dad lived in her house, and my brother and I was very little.
So did Jack and your mom know each other as high school kids, or did that come about later?
No, they even went to college at the same college and didn't know each other. I don't think they met until Dad came back from the service, because he got married at 27. So Mom was 24, I think, 23 or 24. So he was already back from the service when they met.
You know, I asked you yesterday when her birthday was, because when I was her teacher, I knew I wasn't very old. But then you figure out 5 years difference, 21 to 16. She was, when I knew her, what they told us in the Army the first time, they're jailbait. Look out for those cute young girls.
That's
They'll
right.
get you in trouble.
That's right. That's Mom.
I hope to interview your mom a little later today about that high school, and I can't remember for sure the coach's name, the superintendent's name, and her classmates that I should remember. But I'll get to that with her. So, as you grew up, what did your dad do?
He sold farmers insurance for, 20, 30 years, something like that.
Here in this area?
No, that was in California, in Claremont, California.
And what took him and your mom to Claremont to start with?
His sister lived in California. They had all been raised and born in Oklahoma, and then she and her husband came out here. And I don't know, Mom and Dad came out after they did sometime, and lived all over in the beach cities and whatnot, and then they wound up in Claremont, and they lived in Claremont the whole time I was growing up.
And is that where you started selling the insurances out there?
Yes.
So, you were born then out there?
I was born in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
And they took us to California when I was probably 6 months old.
And do you have brothers and sisters, or are you an
I had
only?
a brother who was a year older than I am, and he passed away right after his 40th birthday.
Well, so you then went to school in?
I went to school in Claremont.
In Claremont.
Correct.
Small town, big town? I don't know Claremont.
It's not a real big town, but the towns in Southern California like that, you have like Pomona, Laverne, San Dimas, Montclair, Claremont, and they're all separated by a street. So I mean, it's a big area. It's very populated. But our town was, I'm not good with numbers. I couldn't even believe beginning time. We had one high school.
One high school, and your
graduating
class was about
Oh, we probably had, about 300 maybe.
Yeah, that gives a pretty good idea that not
Yeah.
a big town, but not a real little town either.
Right, but there were so many high schools around us.
Right.
You know, and the boys' Catholic high school, the girls' Catholic high school. Some of the kids that would have gone to my school went to those.
So did Jack stay in the reserves?
No.
No. Well, I know he was interested in the military and got involved with the American Legion or the VFW or...
Right, he was a member of the VFW, and I think he was a member of the Legion. He might have been a member of the Legion, too.
I joined the Legion and never have signed up to the VFW. I'm not a drinker, and seems like the guys like to party more than I do, so I mostly just pay my dues.
Well,
but I'm proud to have served and wish I'd have been like Tom Wood and some others that stayed in. I bet Jack might have had a thought like that a time or two. Some of these boys have a full retirement now.
Yeah,
he would sure be nice.
Well, he did real well in insurance. He was with them a long, long time, and he had a memory that was amazing.
Well, great.
And that really helped him when, you know, he had so many policies. When he sold his business, they set up 5 new agents off of his clients alone.
My gosh.
So
congratulations to him.
He'd been in it for years. That's all I can ever remember was, you know, and he worked really hard when he was first starting out. You know, he had to make sales calls and whatnot, and then it was just repeat, and then their kids and their family, and, you know, it just blossomed that way, word of mouth. And
that's a testimonial of the kind of job he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of integrity he was showing, because
right.
Some insurance salesmen can't say that happened.
No, he was very good, and everybody loved him, and everybody knew him. He knew everybody in town.
But
either through
Jack was very personable.
Yeah, he had the perfect personality for that.
He is always polite and courteous as a soldier, and that's not a time of life and a time of place where everybody's polite and courteous.
No, he was very courteous, I think.
Yeah. So I'm crediting you and your mom and your husband for this reunion. Is that pretty well true?
Well, I kind of talked Mom into it, and then she went along.
I thought maybe you did.
I said, you know, it was just too important to let it die. You just couldn't do that. I had such a good time the first 2 years, and I thought, you know, I just don't want it to stop. I'd like to do it again, and I really wanted my husband to be able to meet everybody. He had met some people prior in Enid, because we'd been to Enid for Mom's high school reunion, and so he got to meet, you know, the Horrells and the Garners and the Mitchells, and so then I thought, you know, I really wanted to meet you guys, Scott and Dodd, and just Marv and everybody that I met, and so I figured if I had it here, I could convince him to come, and of course he loved it.
We're all indebted to you, and we're all indebted to Jack that he raised the kind of daughter that would do that, and that you'd marry the kind of man that would help you do it.
Daddy's little girl.
Daddy's little girl. And you know, your mom looks like she's doing so well, but I'm sure it maybe means the most of all to your mother.
Oh, yeah.
You bet. From stories he told you, any particular story from the military era of your dad's experience that you'd want to relate? We've got another 2 or 3 minutes we could use.
Oh, he's just off and on through the years. They tell me different stories about Paul Mahan was one of his good buddies, and him and Paul and Jim Jagu, I mean, they all grew up together, and they just, you know, nothing I can really remember. I just remember them on leave, and, you know, they were just full of piss and vinegar. They just loved to have a good time. And
well, you know, my memory's not too good. Was Jack a basketball player? Because, see, I remember Mahan and Jagu being on a basketball team that we had at Letterman, that Ben Sullivan and Jagu were the main horses. I mean, they were the ones that poured the points in.
Right. I don't think so. I don't think he played basketball. I mean, he loved all sports. But
well, I didn't remember him playing, and I probably would have remembered, because he's a big boy. If he'd been playing, he'd have been helpful.
No, I don't recall him playing.
Okay, we'll be right there. We're signing off because one of the grandchildren of
daughter of Dot and Scott.
Daughter of Scott and Dot on television. Thank you again very much.
Thanks, Tom.
Good job.
Hope you had a good time.
Atlanta, payday low score.